Not only farmers should be disgusted and absolutely embarrassed by this current administration, everybody in the world should be embarrassed by what is going on right now. Guys, this single loaf of Splorn right here could feed one household for a month. Look at all these Splorn bales. But the United States Department of Agriculture is making me destroy this Splorn crop because it is unmarketable, because China will not buy our Splorn to process it into food. And so the United States government is giving me a grant to destroy these bales. Now, where's my morality? I should not accept the money, and I should donate these bales to the hungry and needy. But here's the thing. I signed life away with the Department of Agriculture, and I am legally bound to destroy these bales in order to receive my $896,000 check for this Splorn crop that I cannot market because China refuses to buy our Splorn. What the America? We're just absolutely as farmers, guys. Everything is so. I do not see anybody surviving this farm crisis that we're in. Guys, look, one of the best Splorn crops that I have ever raised in my life. And because of the tariffs, China will not buy it. And they are the only country in the world other than, well, they are the only country in the world that buys Splorn. And so now I'm literally just chopping it and blowing it on the fucking ground because it's useless. It's valueless. There's nothing I can do to it. I am going to need government assistance to make it through the crisis until these tariffs end. Look, I've never raised a Splorn crop like this, guys. And this is heartbreaking to me. I don't know how I'm going to survive. You know, fucking loved us farmers, and here I am just blowing my Splorn crop all over the ground. Hopefully he works the deal out where Antarctica and Mars will start buying this Splorn and save the farmers. I'm sorry, Splorn crop, but you're...
Hey there, mega regret. It is really happening. And I grew up in rural Iowa, just 1 hour away from Omaha, Nebraska. Both of my children live in Nebraska. Most of my family are in Nebraska right now. And so this is a really big deal for me. But you guys voted for this. And I don't want to go through the whole thing that everybody else is doing. What I want to talk about is decency. So when I grew up, and probably the same thing for boomers, if you broke something, you made up for it. So say you go borrow your neighbor's ladder and it breaks. You go buy them a new ladder, your wife bakes them a cake or a pie, and you express your sorry several times, and you feel bad. So now your vote, because you did not pay attention the last time or read Project 2025 or anything to point you in the right direction and show you what exactly was going to happen, this is the vote that you made. And so I see many of you coming on here crying fake little tears, but I have zero sympathy for you, because what are you actually doing now? Are you protesting in any way? What are you doing besides trying to get other people to feel bad for you? It's going to require action, and it's going to require you to really go out and mobilize and make a difference now, because you are the one who did the thing. It was you. You made the vote. It's affecting you now, just like it affects the rest of us. So what are you going to do? I'm really anxious to hear what you're going to do to make up for it. We are not the ones that did this. So again, how are you going to make it right? The people in the Midwest are it's very important to make up for your wrong. So what are you doing to make up for your wrong? Write it down. What action, what mobilization are you doing? This is really the only answer now. I don't want to hear any more tears or any more bullshit. What are you doing? Thank you.
News out of Texas. And if this is happening in Texas, this is happening elsewhere. I'll put the link to the article in the description. Multiple farms are shutting down due to lack of workers because the entire workforce has basically fled and is in hiding and not showing up for work. crops are being left to die in the Texas heat. Livestock is being untended to, unwatered, and unfed. There's just no one to do the work. So this is going to lead to potential food shortages, because I'm sure this is happening across the country. Most farm workers are questionably documented. No one else is willing to do the work. This is going to lead to shortages, and inflation is going to go back up as we're going to have to import food from outside.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching me from. As you know, I'm your host and present angelic stories. Now, something happened, and I think that majority of white people, when we saw all these white Nebraska farmers, Texas, name all of them, right? All these rural mega farmers, everything they went through, it was down to them that it was time to learn from the past mistakes, from everything that they went through and everything that that they did wrong, right? And so they tried coming up with ways or solutions. And one of the solutions that they understand or that they understood is that Mr. Donald Trump is a person who is not trusted, right? Because they casted their votes and they chose Mr. Donald Trump, thinking that he's going to make their life better, thinking that he's going to, ensure that all these systems that put them up front still continues. Remember, black people, I'm going to be talking about in contrast to black people, because remember, this is what black people have been going through for the longest time. And when black people tell you all the systemic changes or all the systemic challenges that they've been going through in the United States, you think that is a joke because it wasn't happening for you. I mean, it wasn't happening to you, right? And so thinking about losing your farms, losing all the work that you've been putting, the groceries in the stores are going bad. Groceries are rotting. There are no farm laborers. There are no people to work on these farms. Yet you are out there trying to ask for black people to come and work on your farms. One thing that you need to understand, and I think this is upfront, that you need to understand, and I said it in some other video that is kind of related to these ones, that what you're just going through, it is just a part of what we call the Black American experience in the United States. This is what they have been going through, because everything that they ever try to do, you always have sabotage. Check the history of black farmers. Check what led to the downfall of black farmers, because black farmers were doing great back in the 90s and 80s. But because of your jealousy, because you didn't want black people to grow, you took away all that belonged to them. But right now, the system that kept you safe, your safety nets, is now exposing what is happening. And I said that Mr. Donald Trump, what he did, he just exposed the entire white community and all the safety nets that guarded them and everything that put them into safety. So brothers and sisters, I want you to watch this video. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. Thank you. Keep watching.
Hey, Nebraska, is this you? Come on up to the front of the classroom. I have some information for you.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So I know that when you elected Donald Trump, you decided to put all of your apprehensions aside and elect a person who was clear about his intentions. He was going to get rid of undocumented immigrants, which would cause your primary industry, the agriculture industry, to go down. Then he decided to do away with the farm subsidies, basically welfare, that would just annihilate farmers in Nebraska. But wait, there's more. Those two things are just the tip of the iceberg. I was told from a well-placed source that you guys are considering bankruptcy in the not so distant future. They said 6 months or so. So if you combine all of that bad news with these people deciding to vote against you who desperately need health care, they are and will and have voted for a framework of a budget that would basically annihilate Medicaid in your state. Let me give you a secret. I don't know if you know this, but over 341,000 residents in Nebraska are on Medicaid. That represents $3.7 billion of revenue, of money, of spending that goes to the state of Nebraska for health care. And this is not just health care, just ad nauseum. This is health care that goes to take care of patients and then also goes to fund hospitals in a rural state, hospitals that are desperately needed. Now, this is the kicker. Of that $3 billion or so that goes into the state, the federal government picks up 69%. In essence, only 30% of that money you have to contribute. But the problem is, since you're going bankrupt and all, you're not going to be able to contribute that. You have come into the zone of FAFO. Unfortunately, that map, this map, is going to be your downfall.
So as a Nebraskan, the farmers predominantly voted for the current president. They also voted for Pete Ricketts and Deb Fisher, who aren't doing anything for them. And China announced that they're not going to buy corn and soybeans today, or I think they've done it over the last couple days. I think it was last week, because of the trade war their current president that they voted for decided to wage, a trade war with China. They're not going to buy your goods. And I know that a lot of you have said that you want aid. Well, as a taxpayer who lives in Nebraska who did vote for the right candidate, I don't think I want my tax dollars going to bail you out. I think you actually should sit in your decisions and feel the effects. You want us to. Every time we vote for a Democrat and you say they're horrible. So at this point in time, I'm going to tell you the same thing you say to me back. You wanted to vote for this. Now you get to deal with the consequences. And I don't think I should have to bail you out, because I work hard for my money too. And my dollars shouldn't bail out your bad decisions. So yeah, today I'm telling you, the farmers here in Nebraska, you need to deal with your own decisions. It's your consequences, not mine, and I don't want to pay for them.
Nebraska's biggest part of their economy at GDP is farming.
Right.
And they said 45 to 65% of the workforce is undocumented.
45 to 65%?
Yes. So,
Oh, shit.
with Trump rounding up illegals, what have those illegal immigrants done? They jump ship. They don't want to get raided while they're working.
No,
They don't want they don't want to get families broken up. So now so they predicted that Nebraska is 2/4 away from being bankrupt. The whole state, because there's no workers. Half of their workforce is undocumented immigrants. So now Nebraska is in a panic, is in an uproar. And most of them, farmers are Trump supporters. They got exactly what they voted for. If all these illegals were taking your jobs, why don't you go fill and do the shitty jobs they were doing for less than minimum wage? If these illegal immigrants were taking your jobs, there's all these jobs available. You can do it. To work slave hours at slave wages, you can do it. They literally bit their nose and spite their face. Like, they directly voted to deport the illegals, and now the illegals, they didn't even wait for deportation. They working somewhere else. I hope they don't want any government handouts, because that's socialism. They hate socialism. Hope they don't want any government handouts. Put yourselves up by your bootstraps. What's going to end up happening is these corporations are going to come buy your farm, and you going to work that farm. And you're going to be working for the corporations. They're going to buy it for pennies on a dollar, and you're going to be working your farm, and you're not going to own it no more.
Nobody feels safe when they hear the word ICE, even the documented people.
In the vast agricultural lands north of Los Angeles, California, fruits and vegetables are rotting at peak harvest time due to a sharp reduction in workforce. Farmers, field supervisors, and workers told Reuters that President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, specifically raids by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, are frightening laborers, causing most of them to stop showing up. Some workers Reuters spoke to withheld their identities. One worker said, well, one gets up in the morning and you get up with fear because many of us can leave our house and we probably won't come back. Greg Tesh is a farmer in Bakersfield.
We need the labor when we need the labor, or else we'll miss things. We'll fall behind. And the investment's already put in months, sometimes years ago.
Over a third of U.S. vegetables and over 3/4 of the country's fruits and nuts are grown in California, according to the California Department of Food and Agriculture. The state's farms and ranches generated nearly $60 billion in agricultural sales in 2023. Republican Douglas Holtz-Eakin, the former director of the Congressional Budget Office, said an estimated 80% of farm workers in the U.S. were foreign-born, with nearly half of them in the country without documentation. Losing them will cause price hikes for consumers, he said. Studies show that native-born workers tend not to fill the void left by immigrant workers who have moved on. Farm workers like Giovanni Lopez have noticed the trend.
The majority of Mexicans will work anywhere, and there are a lot of them. And the gringos said it's that they hardly work in construction, let alone in the fields. But Mexicans do work everywhere.
Trump conceded in a June 12th post on Truth Social that ICE raids on farm and hotel workers were, quote, taking very good long-time workers away from those sectors, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace, and adding, quote, changes are coming.
What is going on with the farming industry in Texas? In the last 12 months, there's been 4 major incidences alone that have caused serious hardship for the farming industry in Texas, and I put together a little timeline so we can take a look at this. This time last year in April of 2023, over 18,000 cows were killed from a dairy farm explosion in Dimmitt, Texas. In January of this year, a large explosion with a significant fire erupted at Feathercrest Farm chicken plant in Bryan, Texas. Just a couple months ago, in February of 2024, Smokehouse Creek Fire, the largest wildfire to ever burn across Texas, spreading across nearly 1.1 million acres, destroyed tons of farming. And just last month, in March of 2024, the largest U.S. fresh egg producer halts production at Texas plant after the bird flu was found in chickens. About 1.6 million laying hens and 333,700 pullets were culled. This doesn't even mention some of the very weird incidences that have happened with cows and poultry in Texas going back to 2020. But as always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
Miren mi gente, esto está pasando aquí en Florida. Son cientos de acres de cultivo que se echaron a perder. Son demasiados que realmente no puedo caminar todo eso porque es mucho. Y
miles y miles y miles de toneladas. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Porque este cabrón acaba de firmar la pinche ley esa de Florida. Aquí en Florida ya nadie quiere trabajar. Toda la uva ya echada a perder. Ya no hay inmigrantes aquí. Ahora no sé qué vamos a hacer. Miren. Miren nada más. Toda la uva se está pudriendo. Prefieren que pase todo esto a que pase una ley migratoria. Que todos estemos felices y con...
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So, overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So, from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So, enjoy.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats. And they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration, on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning under Republican leadership. Share this video.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Our state has, in fact, gone bankrupt. Due to his tariffs and the loss of all of our migrant farm workers, our state has lost over $500 million. It's so bad that Governor Pillen had to call and ask him for a bailout, and we don't know if he's going to give it to us. My husband and I did used to own a farm here in Nebraska, and thanks to the loss of all the workers, we went bankrupt, and bankruptcies in our state overall are at a record high right now. It's still just so weird to me because we all voted red. Nebraska, every county, every district overwhelmingly voted red. And that seems to have been the reason that we're all out of business now. And that just doesn't make that much sense to me. If you vote for a party, shouldn't they protect you? Shouldn't they pass policies that will help you stay out of bankruptcy? And it's not just the farms, but the whole state is going under because we voted red. When you're a farming family like mine, I can see now that it is important to think before you vote.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
So this morning I ended up on Nebraska Talk, and it was a bunch of people crying, why does anybody care about Nebraska? When we voted for Kamala Harris, when I cast my vote for Harris, that was me saying, I care about you and I want you to survive and thrive. Okay, you knew better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay, and instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for minimum wage.
I hear Nebraska's not too happy, and that a lot of them are facing bankruptcy. After they can't find people to work, a lot of people aren't coming to work right now, worried that they're going to get picked up by ICE. And there was even one family that said they had a 300-year-old ranch that they may lose. And I said, 300 years old ranch? That had been 1725. I wonder what the Native Americans thought about that one. But I don't know, Nebraska. Maybe they'll give you some of the money from Illinois that he kept. I'm not sure. Y'all voted for him. So maybe he'll give you all that money. All right, Nebraska, I hope things work out for you, and I hope your state don't go bankrupt. I hope not. Or get out there and get working. Hire, the unemployment office, though. That's where you go if people need jobs. Just go to the unemployment office and tell them you're looking for workers. And I'm sure they'd be able to get something figured out for you over there. But, yeah, good luck, Nebraska. I hope everyone does well. Bye.
I'm seeing a lot of hate towards these Nebraskan farmers, and I would love to hate on them. But we have to root for them, because if these small farms go out of business, who's going to buy up these small farms? It's going to be the corporations. And we're going to be even more fucked than we are now. They're just going to be able to rule everything, price gouge us on everything. So, as much as I don't want to be supportive, we kind of have to support them and, do anything we can to help them out, even though they voted for the wrong person.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. One thing that I like to say up front is that If Nebraska farmers, if Texas farmers didn't learn from what really happened to them, then I honestly don't know what they will learn from. Because this was a clear part of history that shows them, and I think it's a real time event that happened that proved to them that they should not trust Mr. Donald Trump. A couple of lessons that came out from all that event of farming crisis, which was happening in the United States. Get to understand that the following things first happened. Yes, there's still a crisis. There's still a crisis of laborers who needs to work in these spaces. There's also that part of crisis that is there. There is food crisis because this is a threat to food security in the United States. Adding on top on all those food snap cards that Mr. Donald Trump was trying to bring to the people. When I really saw all these struggling white people that were coming out talking about how they cannot sustain their lives, they cannot pay for their rent, they cannot afford to get a job or anything like that, I say that, you know what, this is what black people have been going through. And nobody understood that this is what it feels like to be black in the United States, because black people have been telling you this for the longest time. And they asked you for unity. They have tried to warn you, they have tried to tell you that we can come together and win this system that is playing as both black and white people. But somehow, because of greed, you didn't want to give it an ear, because giving it an ear or lasting the black person, it means that you are going to give everything that you benefited from a system that kept you safe while it undermined another person. And so giving up your racism, giving up your anti-blackness was so much hard to believe that when you do this, it's going to be for a collective good. But because of greed, but because of racism, you see why it's putting you. Most importantly, you are learning that this doesn't pay. And so when I see all these Nebraska farmers, when I see these Texas farmers and all the rural white Americans where we have old people that depend on Medicaid and Medicare, and all these things are going to be affecting everyone, I situate how Mr. Donald Trump exposed the racism which has been always there. The only way that Mr. Donald Trump is different from these other people that kept the safety nets of white people is that these people that were there before, they gave a damn about the citizens. But Mr. Donald Trump, he doesn't give a damn about the citizens. The oligarchs, it's always about getting profits. It's always about making more money. It's always about making more money and making more money, even if it's about taking away the sense that the American citizens are having. That's how it has always been. And so my takeaway from all these struggles and all these things that white farmers in the United States are going through, I'll tell them, ask black farmers what their ancestors went through and how have they managed to be resilient over time, seeing all these challenges going on right now. Because while the white farmers are going through all those challenges they are going through, they're asking themselves one question: why are we not seeing black farmers coming out and complaining about all this? Why are they not seeing that? What they need to understand is that black people understood what is called community. They understood that when you're farmers, you are not going to be gatekeeping, because any gatekeep, it means it's taking an asset out of a farmer. It takes an asset because you only need another black person to fill the gap that favored white farmers. But historically, you know how it happened. They destroyed all the black farms and they took land that belonged to black people. And so black people had to start from somewhere below. White people had 500 years of head start. This includes education, this includes wealth accumulation, this includes farming, generally still wealth accumulation. Add on top with meritocracy and the American dream and all these lies that people are being told, especially black people, they're being told to pull themselves by the bootstraps, right? And so when you understand this, You get to understand why black people, especially black farmers, are learning that the only asset that they have is unity, and that's what has been making them move forward, right? When the USDA failed to support black people, it didn't stand for them. But right now, you asking black people, where are you? Why are you not speaking when all these things are happening, brothers and sisters? And so I think it's imperative for us to recognize the fact that you are played. They didn't give a damn about you. There are a couple of things that you want from black people. The first thing that you want from a black person is black labor. That's the first thing you want. You want black labor, right? You want black people to come and work on your farms because you have no laborers. After accusing people of taking your jobs, after, saying that they are running the country down, the ICE did what they did. The China-US tariffs affected you big time, but you still are not learning that you are being played. You don't have the guts to see for yourself and just think that you are being played. You are not even seeing that part, that you are being played. Because what they gave you what is called a convenience, because that's what they gave you. They gave you a convenience. They never gave you what you need to have, because they knew that when black farmers and white farmers came together, all these tariffs and everything is nothing. But they first wanted to put or to give safety nets to white people. So when they did that, this means that first, it's always going to be about black versus white. Yeah. And that's how it has always been, and that's how it is, right? So all these white farmers, you learn from all these things that have happened, and you take it as a lesson. Because indeed it's a lesson. This is a real life class. Millions and millions have been lost for the past 10 months because of agricultural crisis or the farming crisis that we have in the United States. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think and feel about this video. Let me see you on my next video. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.